Hey guys, this is Mr. Cypher77. Get it right. So, people have been wondering, where's Kimimorra? Or why hasn't he started the next podcast stream? Well, the truth is, he got arrested.
You what?
Before we talk about the recent events that he did, I'm going to talk about who Kimimorra Trap Brothel is, or formerly known as Ancap Otaku, for new people who don't know him. So, let us begin. Kimimorra's channel, or known as Ancap Otaku back then, started his channel during around 2015 December at that time. During that time, most of his videos were just about top 10s, or death battle stuff, or rants, or AMVs, any kind of stuff you could see in a typical YouTuber. Not a Let's Player, but more so of a YouTuber, you know, some different types, you know what I'm saying. Alright, let's get started to 2018. This will be the part where he now rants about death battle. So let's get to this fun stuff. It all started when he did a rant on Carnage vs. Lucy, and eventually make a review of it. And yes, I can't forget he also did the top 10 worst death battles. Yeah, I actually really wanted to see a video like this. While he did review Carnage vs. Lucy, keep in mind, a lot of people do tend to argue that this review came out before the actual release of the death battle came out. But here's the argument. He did put a disclaimer, you know, a warning sign telling that there's spoilers in it. So the people trying to argue that, oh, this video has already been uploaded, you know, before the death battle got released. Well, guess what? He already put the warning disclaimer, so he's free to do it, as long as he puts that in the sign. While he did admit that this review didn't age so well, yeah, I do agree this review didn't age so well, as he did say that Carnage should have won this, and yes, he did admit that, which he did mention in his top 10 worst death battles remake, and especially his live streams. There are a lot of them, but if you have followed his channel, you'll know that he will still know that Carnage does beat Lucy out of many, many reasons. To me, personally, I did like to see a person who rants on death battle constantly. And it's mostly because death battle hasn't been really good for a lot of reasons. Like its research, for example, or how they got the results so dang wrong. So yeah, he had a lot of potential, and yeah, I was pretty glad that he actually gets to rant on death battle a lot back then, which was pretty cool, in my opinion. Later, he met one Fish Mob, who is you know, another versus channel that is inspired by death battle, you know, called Fan War, or nowadays known as Fan War Fatal Conflict. And yeah, and then later he made a review on one of his episodes on a double review of Death Battle's Mario vs. Sonic and Sonic.exe vs. Red on Fan War. Eventually, he collabed with One Fish Mob because he wanted to make an episode for a new versus show that he created called Blood Royale, which was Ukiora vs. Kimimorra. Because he didn't like how Death Battle was doing and wanted to make a versus show that should have been the Death Battle people have wanted. Well, you know, that's something what he said, I think. Well, as for the episode, you know, the pilot episode, it was, I think it was like 1 hour to 2 hours long, which looks big. No other versus show has ever achieved to make an episode that's like 1 hour to 2 hour. Like, what the F? It's like he actually checked at every single thing the character did, or you think, I don't know, like maybe their weapons, their powers, strength, speed, etc. Maybe everything of that, I think. But the video somewhat got deleted by copyright strikes. And then he had to delete it somehow because, oh man, I can't remember what it was, dang it. I think he said, like, he got the outcome wrong, I think, and saying that Ukiura should have won instead of Kimimorra, I think. I think that's what it was. But, yeah. Personally, it's alright to make mistakes. Like, I've seen many versus shows make mistakes before on many episodes. Whether they mostly get the outcome wrong, etc. and all. Sure, they look cringy, but why do you have to delete it exactly? I mean, maybe you could have cut out the copyright striking thing, perhaps. Also, not to mention, why doesn't Death Battle delete episodes of this anyway? They never really did that, didn't they? So why you delete it for no reason? Just because an outcome got wrong? I mean, it's alright to make mistakes. I mean, not every versus show is perfect. But okay, I mean, whatever you say so. Okay, and as for the rest of the other videos, they're just mostly Death Battle overviews, blah 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 blah. So we're gonna skip those and move on to the next year, 2019. Alright, let's get to 2019. Most of these videos are really special for me to look at, and blah blah blah, until he made a video on animation. Keep in mind, Kimmy did say that he never liked Animation Rewind before, and now people are really wondering why he never liked Animation Rewind. Even I did. And there's the video on why, which he did a review on Rewind Rumbles, Dio Brando versus Alucard. And then later, he went to come back and do more Death Battle reviews. Yeah, some of the episodes of Season 6 were pretty silly and dumb. Like Ben 10 versus Green Lantern being one of them. And then there were some of the episodes that, I don't say they're bad, but they were just more so unfair matches that they didn't really check at the compatibility hardcore like. That's what they were. And especially he did his first debut, Yang versus Tifa. Now back then, while 2019 was a thing, I never really watched the episode back then. I only watched a few glimpses of it and just ignored it, just for not knowing these two characters pretty well. Until later then, after not looking at it, yeah, this one was completely bad. Like, this is an effort fail, literally. And when Ghost Rider vs. Lobo happened, this is where Ancap Otaku got so mad, he actually had an idea. And after that episode kicked in, he ended up making a whole trailer of the first Blood Royale right here, Ghost Rider vs. Simon Belmont. I guess it made more sense than having Ghost Rider fight Lobo, I guess. Well, they're both cursed men, so yeah, I mean, it makes more sense, I guess. Okay, fair point. At least I enjoyed the review of this. I mean, it was pretty cool, and yeah, I actually did like the humor of this one. I find most of Kimmy's reviews very funny to watch, and some of them, and a lot of them, I can even agree with. Oh, yeah. He also made another series called Never Go Full Retard on a specific person. Most likely debunking the person and, you know, whatever they said and respond to them, basically, on what they got wrong, basically. It's a short show that he makes, you know. It's something like that, you know. Then he later retired on his Death Battle reviews. I wouldn't be that surprised anyway. Therefore, the All Might vs. Might Guy review never got reviewed, and never it did review. Though, as an addition, he also did the 12 Days of Death, basically, where people get to request to him what Death Battle they want him to review. And boom, the video gets released right at the 12 Days of Death, like a special, basically. Something pretty cool, and, you know, it was alright, I guess. and the last one being his review on Naruto vs. Ichigo, as well as a debunk as well. Huh, now I see why this one was wrong all the way. And alright, that finishes up 2019's part. I'm skipping the response videos. Those ones, I don't think we have time to get into those yet. I mean, but anyway, let's just move on. We don't have time for this. And in this year, in 2020, this will be the year where Kimimorra now goes help with Fan War, you know, like trying to criticize him and help him around his matchups and all. And yeah, this was basically the whole year of 2020. Though it only lasted for only 1 year, as Kimimorra got his ass banded by one fish mob around, like, right after his 24th birthday, pretty much. And it all started when one fish mob wanted to collab with Animation Rewind for the, I guess you could call it the second or third time, because the first time he did it, it was around, you know, Godzilla vs. Gion, and the second time maybe you could consider the Godzilla vs. Kong Rewind Rumble, and the third one being, you know, Yang vs. Doomfist. But keep in mind, this was before Kimimorra now realizes that Animation Rewind is not the equivalent of Watch Mojo. And therefore, the review of Kimimorra's review on Fan War's Yang vs. Doomfist is outdated by a long shot. Now when I personally think of him right now in 2020, on him, I didn't really, you know, find the guy as good as he used to be back then. But where was he bad? Was it because he was bad at the Death Ball reviews? I mean, he's alright with the Death Ball reviews during around that year and later on. But I just don't find his commentary funny nowadays or anything good. They were just all boring enough. Heck, this also counts the Zuko vs. Todoroki review, which was basically 4 hours long. I didn't find anything funny in that. We just call it a podcast. I think he called it a podcast, but yeah, it was sort of like that. And there were sort of small parts I disagreed with him, and yeah, I just don't really find his reviews that much like the same tier as the one back in 2019. Just didn't really. Was it because he roasted on the Death Battle matchups? Okay, listen up. Let's be real. You're okay to roast any matchup if you want to, even people's ideas if you want to, in any regard. So they're free to do it as long as they want to. So I mean, it's a roast thing. I mean, roasting has been a thing anyway. So I mean, I wouldn't mind. So no, that's not the reason why. Or was it because he hates Steven Universe? No, that's not a reason. I mean, I like Steven Universe, the OG, and the movie, but I didn't really like Steven Universe Future. So that's my take on Steven Universe. So moving on. The reason why I never really liked Kimimorra was when he decided to change his username to Kimimorra's Trap Brothel instead of just keeping the OG Ancap Otaku. And looking back at, like, after he got the 100,000 sub special, I didn't really find his channel as much interesting to look at nowadays. I mean, heck, look at the Cyborg vs. Astro Boy review, and my gosh, this review was so bad. It made me start to feel like he's been going stupider than I expected on his takes on the review. But I'll talk about that in a different video. We need to be on topic. Going around, discussion page, right when Car vs 682 was going to happen, he made a poll on, you know, if people want to see the episode. But guess what Kimimorra just did? He actually just tells the fans to actually downvote the video, poll, basically. Like, seriously, what the hell, man? Alright, I just want to stop a little bit because this part's gonna get very repetitive, so,
let's talk about some things that will need to be said. So first off, keep in mind, despite him doing this over and over by doing the same shitty mistake, guess what? It's gonna happen constantly around this year and the next year. It's gonna happen repetitively. So keep this part in mind. Yeah, just keep an eye on that part, because this part's gonna get pretty repetitive and cringeworthy. So let's keep that in mind. Another thing I find annoying about him is that whenever somebody thinks that, oh, this matchup is good, or this matchup is, you know, going to be fun to look at, or whatever it is, he just comes at them and tells them that, no, this is not a good matchup. It never was. Whatever, you know, and it goes so repetitive as ever. Yeah, we get it. We know that you're trying to help them do it so that way they can understand, but honestly, it just feels too overdone and overrated. Like, to be real, like, everything that you're trying to do is just pretty much overdone to death. Yeah, not every matchup is not a winner, and that's true anyway. Not every matchup is a winner anyway. I mean, heck, there are a lot of them we could talk about. Or, I guess you can't because you're in jail. But anyway, that's fine if you make your own thoughts of a matchup. But if you're just gonna tell them to, you know, to mock them, to actually tell that it is bad, do we ever think this person will actually agree or disagree? I don't really think so anyway, honestly. And heck, you're mostly trying to treat these people as idiots anyway. Huh. Really? That reminds me of something. But none other than that would be the reason why none of the people in FanWars fan base wouldn't really, you know, agree with you for a lot. And I mean a lot, not every time. If you're just gonna try and overhelp them or just bitch about it on other people's thoughts of it, you need to go seek help. You need to go see Dr. Phil. That's all you need to do. Like, what the fuck is this? This is the logic right here. Hey, look at this anime. We need this as a live-action movie. Oh no, fuck that shit. We don't need this, and you have bad taste, and you are a casual. Heck, that's what it looks like in a nutshell of all of this entire part of this. Even if you're saying that you're playing a character or play Persona, guess what? Your character was trash and was never ever good as you acting as a character anyway. It was never ever good. Ever since you changed your name to KTB. You act like a DSP, always getting pissed off in the process. Who even cares if you're playing character? You're always trash anyway. In denial. I even find it funny when you said this.
I mean, I get it. People have their guilty pleasures, and it's not impossible to like something bad. You can like something bad.
You can like something bad.
Yeah, see? See what I mean? Heck, this can even count for matchups as well. The matchups can be done so bad, but they can be good and in an entertaining way. Huh, now I find this guy two-faced in so many levels. I also see his versus debating a lot horrible, and judging by what his takes on, I don't really see him as a best versus debater. To expose him a little further, he admitted that he's average in his versus debating skills anyway.
The reason why I'm searching for Calc Masters is because my calculation skills are average at best. They're not terrible, but they're not amazing either. And
I'll talk about his, you know, the reasons why he sucks at research later in another video. Because there's a lot he really messed up on. Like, look at his roast death battles. The recent ones, actually. Man, there were a lot of bad takes I've heard. During around the summer, Kimimorra later got a job during around that time, and as he said in the video, which I'll go ahead and give out.
The good news is I was able to get myself a job recently, which is really good, so I can have some more money in my pocket to fund not only my new place, but the channel as well, so I could possibly work on more projects.
Due to that update, when it came down to the second half of Death Battle, he didn't really review, like, all of the others. Only 2. And, yeah, there's the reason why he didn't review any of these Death Battles recently. After, One Fish Mob recorded and, uploaded Kara vs. 682, let's take a look at what his review is from the looks of it. Alright, unfortunately, I couldn't find, like, an archived comment or something I could find out of nowhere. So, let me just summarize the stuff that he said from what I've remembered. Okay, the one thing he said was that the matchup was bad. Admittedly, it is so obvious, and there were better ideas than this matchup. So, okay, that's one thing I can agree. Second of all, he says that the research was crap. Okay, listen, dude, he already did a good job, and truth be told, he did good on that one. And while he didn't power scale the characters, it's easy to tell that he got most of the stuff right, if I were going to prove it to you very carefully. Let me bring you some context. Kara is able to scale with Azrael. So, let's see how One Fish Mob did his power scale on Azrael,
complete with infinite attack and infinite defense. His power is most likely on a multiversal, if not higher level as well.
See? You already power scaled him. Alright. What the actual hell are you talking about? Alright, let's look at 682.
SCP-682 would be more than capable of adapting to and regenerating from Sonic.exe's attacks. And while Sonic.exe may be a god with control over his video game world, any control that he has could be easily countered by SCP-682, who has countered plot manipulation in the past.
You really can't go wrong with plot manipulation. It's one of the abilities 682 can do. So, he already did alright with the research, and what the hell are you even talking about? The funny thing I found in his take on his research on Kara's is that, here's the thing, he said that she is multiversal, 4D. But his reasons to that is that he is immune to time. Oh, okay, for further evidence, I'll prove it to you that he actually said that.
Also, being a fourth-dimensional being, all that means is that you're above the concept of time. That's all it really means. So, at best, this being is only above the concept of time and potentially omnipresent.
Oh my God! What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
So he literally thinks that she's 4D, and his reason is because they're above the concept of time? What the fuck is this shit? This is something that a character who's either hyperversal or outerversal would have. This is the logic right here. So, basically, by his logic, a four-dimensional character who's above the concept of time could keep up with outerversal beings. This is the logic. What is this? Also, he also thinks that Goku is on par with Kara. Yes, he actually thinks they're both comparable. Here's proof.
Yes, Goku is absolutely low-tier multiversal. Emphasis on low-tier multiversal. He is extremely low. He is the same level of low-tier multiversal as the likes of Kara from Undertale.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. You're wrong.
Now he thinks the Dragon Ball characters are universal. He's lying right now. What is he going off of? I'm gonna bet your research Sam got this shit out of nowhere and said, oh, the fourth dimensional characters are beyond the concept of time. Dude, I think Sam should be embarrassed of himself, and he should be ashamed of himself for what he was hired for. You know, him getting hired. Wow. This guy's a total dumbass.
Alright, next up is the animation. This might be controversial, so I'm gonna have my own take on it. Let's see what he said. Okay, so basically he said, oh, he actually stole some assets and, you know, taped them all in the fight and all. Oh boy, this might be controversial, so let me have my own take on it.
You know what, I'll do something different. Let's just pick up a clip that he said, and where am I going to clip? Well, I'm going to clip a vid that he made on Animation Rewind. Let's hear this.
The matchup is horrible. The fight is horrible because you can't get invested. The jokes are horrible. The script is horrible. The only one putting any effort here is the animator, who I feel really bad for that he had to waste time slaving to create this fucking animation, which again is impressive in regards to sprite animation, but then why are you complaining about...
Like, they're the same person who did these two animations. Also, Juan's not even a hack. You aren't getting any context, and it needs citation. So, where are you bringing up the fact that he's a hack? He's never been a hack from what I've seen in his channel. He has good animations. What the hell? Also, about this asset thing, about the asset stealing, well, none of the video game companies don't even give a shit about, you know, the sprites and all stuff. Like, you don't even give you any proof. So, no, not true. Okay, as for this Mugen looking game that somebody sent in Steam, I would have assumed that he didn't even take their permission anyway, if I were right. You know, there's always this anyway, right? So, no. Okay, and as for the rest of the points, I'm gonna say, get your arguments ass banned! Those arguments are Democrats, or democratic, and shovelware-like. Nobody even cares about them, and they should be banned from the heavens anyway. Either way, like, even if he does try to talk about the animation and all stuff, all it is he's gonna do is just trash on it anyway. It's blandly obvious nowadays if he's going to come back. And even if he did came back and talk about his thoughts on a certain kind of animation, he will always just trash it. It's blandly obvious. Just assume he acts like a robot who, you know, trashes on stuff like any other silly robot would do. Just assume he is a robot when he has his own take on the animations. Let's just be honest. He obviously would anyway. So just ignore it. And last but not least is the soundtrack on how his take was. This should be easy to easily respond to this one. So he basically says that he just ripped out a soundtracks, basically. Okay, another bullshit claim, yet again. The soundtracks that he chose in the animation fight, well, the only ones that he did use were the Attack on Titan music, the 300 OST, if I think I'm right or wrong, and the Megalo Strikes Back music. Okay, what do you think of that? Okay then, let me answer you this question. Oh, or maybe not, because you're already in jail. Can you explain why you're using Attack on Titan music on your Deadpool vs. Mask video review you did?
Explain, because you're already used to it. Let me just show proof.
I don't know where to start. This is one of the first times that I'm almost legitimately speechless right now. This is fucking terrible. I guess here's one funny thing I do want to mention, and trust me, you know it's big if I have to mention it because I've never mentioned this in any other review until now. When I was downloading the file for this video for editing purposes, for some reason the video file, when I converted it, was literally titled